Hello, this is How to Kill an Hour. Before this show starts, I, myself, Marcus Bronzy, joined by Dev. Hi, Dev. How you doing, mate? You right?
Hey, how's it going, everyone?
All good, bro.
Good to be here.
It's good to be here. I just want to say, please listen to the whole interview if you're planning to listen to the freestyle at the end of this podcast. It will pay back dividends like no other, right, Dev?
Yeah. It's going to be it's going to be worth it, guys. Right? Don't do no skip through, fast forward 15 seconds, 30 seconds. Don't do that. Okay, listen to enjoy the full thing.
Since the podcast has started, we've never told you to do that. You've been totally given full reign to do what you want, but we recommend for best listening, hear everything. Don't just skip to the Mack freestyle, which is inevitably going to happen. Right, let's kick off the show.
Are you serious?
Hi, thank you in advance for killing some time with us. This is How to Kill an Hour. My name is Marcus Bronzy.
Hi, have I done this joke already? My name's actually Devin, but it's been shortened over time to just Dev, and I've ran with it.
You've never cracked that joke. In fact, I didn't even know that was a choice that was out of your hands by the sound of it. You said it was shortened, like you didn't shorten it.
Yeah, well, it's annoying for a number of reasons. Devin is kind of an unusual name, so when I would tell people that as a kid, they would just say Devon, which used to wind me up. Again, over time, that just became Dev. And now what's really confusing is that Dev's what my family call me, as you know, since I've been very young. And so now, even though that's what I'm sort of known as to most people, for a split second, if anybody calls me Dev, for 1 second, I think, oh, you know me. Oh, no, you don't. That's just the name that I go by. This is riveting chat. If someone wants a podcast with it.
Someone wants to mess with you and just be like, hey, Dev, how's it going, man? Long time. How's the family? They can hit you with all of that. And you'll be like, I'm great, man.
You know what? For a second. And I haven't got the wherewithal to say, I don't think I know you, dude. I haven't got the wherewithal. I'm too sort of embarrassed to admit that I wouldn't remember somebody that, if you ran up to me and you just pretending like you knew me, to save myself embarrassment, I'd probably just go along with it.
How do you know what? Someone said to me earlier today, literally today said, oh yeah, look, I'm not as soft as you. So that's why I have to say something. And I was like, nah, bro, what you don't understand, at my grand old age of 33, I can't be fucking bothered, it's easier. I want the path of least resistance. I'm water in life, If somebody gets it wrong, I'm like, okay, cool. Nice to meet you. I'll see you around. As long as they don't quiz me and they're like, so, what's my mum's name? As long as they don't hit you with something like that, I'm cool, bruv. I don't need to, it's the easiest way, right?
The only thing like that bothers me, and it sort of comes with the territory, but I don't necessarily agree with it, is any kind of over familiarity. So I don't like it when people. I love it when people say nice things to me. Who doesn't? Get a little serotonin hit. It's lovely, but I don't like, 100 years ago when we used to be allowed in nightclubs, and sometimes somebody might ask for a picture. And what they would do is they would use the photo opportunity as a chance to touch you in a place that if you weren't stood next to each other taking a picture, that wouldn't be okay. The small of the back, for example, seems to be quite a popular place for someone to place a hand. And I think that's a really intimate place to touch somebody in the small of the back. Like, I'm like, well, now what? Now what do we do? Do we move in together? Do we start planning our future? Like, it's too intimate. I don't like being touched, is what I'm saying.
Maybe in their head, they're gonna touch the small of your back, lock eyes with you, and then all of a sudden they're just gonna hear drifting in, oh my love, my darling.
It could happen if you call me on the right night. If you call me on the right night and touch me in just the right spot, it could happen.
And call you Dev at the same time. Dev. Anyway, bro, what you been killing time with recently, man, before we jump into today's awesome guest? You made a big announcement, bro.
Oh, yeah, I did. I made a big announcement last week that after 18 years of broadcasting for the BBC that I'm going to be leaving, which is... It's a roller coaster of emotions. I'm really sad to be leaving, but at the same time, 18 years I feel like is a good innings, and I'm really excited to just do something else for a bit. The the landscape has changed so much since I started. The analogy I've been using is remember that scene from Life with Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence, where they've been in jail for 40 odd years and they're allowed out for one day to drive. I think it's the warden. They're allowed to drive the car into town or something like that. And they bring one of them with them. They're so old by that point that they're not going to run away. And Martin Lawrence gets out of the car and he looks around at the people walking down the street. And I think by this time it's the 70s. And there's guys with afros and mixed race couples and people with ghetto blasters and playing like, disco and soul, like it's stuff he's never heard before. And he's so overwhelmed by everything. Like, what is all of this? And so, there's a part of him as well. They don't really go into detail with it, but it's certainly the way that I read it, is that there seems to be a part of him that just wants to go back to being in jail because he knows how that works. But at the same time, that's you. On one hand, you yearn for your freedom, and then kind of now where I'm at is, this whole landscape of broadcasting and media is completely different to when I first signed up to the BBC at like 17. So I'm really excited to, adapt and have my own thing going on. And I'm basically going to be popping up a lot more on How to Kill an Hour because it does feel a bit like jumping off a cliff when you make like a big decision. I think I've got a delivery coming. I'm really sorry, man.
That's all right, bruv.
It does feel like a bit like jumping off a cliff, but I'm excited. It's all about pushing yourself, man, and going for new challenges.
I'm going to fill time. I think Dev's got a microphone that's attached to him though. So are you still able to hear and talk, or have you taken off your headphones?
Yeah, I've got a headset on.
You can talk us through this delivery. I mean, is it coming at the time you expected it to come?
Well, they send you an email on the day saying that your delivery has been dispatched, but it doesn't specify what time. It just says that it's out for delivery. So that could be any time between 9 a.m. and what time is it now that we're recording this?
Yeah, it is 5:21 in the evening, afternoon.
But I did. It's actually become one of my things is that when I'm trying to cheer myself up a little bit in the evening, I have a couple of glasses of wine and then I just start clicking through Amazon. I don't get anything big. I set myself a little bit of a budget, 25, 35 quid. And okay. I just click on things that I like the look of. And then what happens is, this is when you really get into trouble, is when the algorithm learns what you like the look of and says, oh, other people bought this as well. Do you like the look of that? And you think, do I need another bottle of Angostura bitters? Probably not. I'm going to get it because there's going to be a point where I do need that. Hang on a second. I'm just going to go get these boxes.
I really want to reiterate, and I think we're probably going to put a super top at the start of this show as well, that if you listen to the podcast, the interview we're about to do, it's going to give you so much payback. You're going to get such a payout at the end when you listen to what Harry Mack puts together for us. He's a gentleman that is pretty much known for having a phenomenal freestyle ability, right? Like me and Dev have been looking at clips over the last few months of this guy and he's blowing up. He's been doing it for years. And Harry Mack is a guy that's got amazing talent. And I can't wait to get into this interview, Dev, because we actually talked to him about where he gets his skill set from, which is quite interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, freestyle rap is one of those things that I'm forever impressed by, just because it seems so difficult to do. But this is going to be a really interesting listen for people. It's going to be a little bit like a murder mystery drama on telly. There's going to be lots of little nuggets throughout the show, and at the end, they're all going to come together, and you're going to go, oh.
And you hear both me and Dev going, oh. All right, so without further ado, this is our interview with Harry Mack. The first thing we did was we played him an absolutely crazy response, like many he's been getting online when he's doing his YouTube jobbies, and that's how we jump into the interview, man.
Oh shit, Harry Mack! Holy no way, bro! Oh my god!
That's the kind of response you're getting when you're turning up on YouTube on people's Omegle, Harry.
It's bananas, dude. I never saw that coming. It's crazy.
Yeah, man. Well, welcome to How to Kill an Hour, bro. And I suppose I just kind of want to get straight into it. Like,
Yeah,
where did this all begin?
man. I mean, I've been a musician since I was a kid. I've been freestyling and rapping since I was in like 5th or 6th grade. So, 10, 11 years old. But in terms of me, making content and kind of having this following online, that started back in 2016, December 2016. So the very end of the year there. And what happened is kind of funny. I'll tell you guys a little story. Basically, I'm a jazz drummer as well. So that's my background. I went to school for jazz drumming. And one of my peers in the jazz program at USC is this really great pianist and composer named Jacob Mann. And we had done some gigs together on the jazz scene and stuff like that. And we were friends. And he knew about my freestyling. And this was, before I had really shown anybody my freestyling outside of like my friend community and the people who knew me at school and stuff like that. And so, he wanted to change that. So he kind of tricked me into making my first video in a sense. So he had made an album of his own for his jazz compositions. And he said, Harry, look, man, I'm trying to do like some creative promo for my album. I remixed one of my jazz songs and I turned it into a hip hop beat. And I would love for you to freestyle over it and I'll film it, and just so I can post it online and like, kind of promote my album in this creative way. So I was like, yeah, man, let's do it. I'm down. And so we decided that, I would drive his car down Sunset Boulevard in LA so I could rap about all the different changing scenery around me and stuff like that. So people would hopefully, know that it was truly improvised off the top of my head. Right. And so we're driving down Sunset Boulevard doing this freestyle. He's filming it on his iPhone over his beat that he made. We did one take, took like 15 minutes and then we got lunch afterwards and like, cool. I think he Venmo'd me like $50 or something. I tried to tell him not to, but he did anyway. He's a good dude. So I kind of forgot about that, and then like a week later, I woke up from a nap and my roommate at the time, she was like, bro, you're going viral right now. And I was like, what does that mean? And she was like, yeah, like you're number one on Reddit videos. And I was like, what's Reddit videos? I really wasn't like in this internet content creation world at all. So it was all just like kind of like a foreign language to me, So she pulled up the page and was like, yeah, look, like, hundreds of people are upvoting your video. And I was like, wow, went over to the video and I was refreshing it on YouTube and it was going up by like hundreds of views every time I hit refresh. And so long story short, that video got like 100,000 views kind of overnight. And then it fell off everybody's radar, right? It was just a flash in the pan, but it was enough to really open my eyes to the potential and to help kind of push me past all the fear and insecurity that had caused me to kind of hold my creativity back for all those years from when I was 10, 11 years old rapping all the way through to 2016, when I was 26. That video that we made together, I mean, I owe him a lot. Even though he was doing it to promote his album, that was really the catalyst for me to get going as who you now know as Harry Mack.
Cool, man.
That's a dope story, man.
Yeah, it's a dope story. But are you saying that you had like 14 years of training then, like before you kind of burst out on the scene? So you started this when you were 11 years old. Like, how do you start? I know this sounds like an obvious question, but how do you start freestyling and kind of get from, I don't know, a kid who's rhyming, I don't know, Blue and You to where you're reeling off 7-minute long freestyles off the top?
Yeah. So, I mean, you said it already. It's the years of practice and training. I've been practicing for 18 years now,
Yeah.
Or maybe 19, maybe even a little longer, 18, 19 years, something like that. And so, when I first started freestyling, it was because me and my best friends at that time, when we were 10, 11 years old, were just in love with hip hop music and in love with hip hop culture. We had heard, I mean, I started listening to hip hop before that, probably 2nd or 3rd grade, because, my big sister, who's 3 years older than me, was like, yo, all the cool kids are listening to Jammin' 95.5 on the radio. Like, you should listen to that if you want to be cool. I was like, all right, I'll listen to her because she's my big sister and she probably knows. She hangs with the big kids. So that was like the mainstream. I started hearing hip hop and just instantly fell in love. And me and a lot of my best friends loved the music. We would go over to my friend Brady's house every day after school and watch, 106 in Park, the battles and stuff like that. And the Basement with Big Tigga and all the dope artists that would come on there and rap and freestyle. We were just like, man, this is so amazing. We're fired up. Like, I want to be a part of that. We all kind of had this feeling of like, man, I want to try that. Like, that's so dope. Maybe I can do my little version of what these amazing people are doing on TV, and so it just started with that curiosity and that childlike, curiosity of wanting to just finger paint, and try to get involved creatively. And so we just started rapping for fun, and we were super whack. All my first freestyles were not dope. Like, you wouldn't hear those back when I was 10 or 11 and be like, oh, he's got it. He's going to be a professional full-time freestyler. This dude is crazy. Not at all. It was just like little kids messing around trying to rhyme. Like you say, trying to rhyme blue and true and stumbling over it and saying gibberish and things that don't make sense. And, we didn't have any skills yet, but we had that passion and that love. And most importantly, we were kids. So we were very non-judgmental, and that's the thing. I was fortunate to start back before, I got those kind of judgmental voices in my head of, oh, it's not good enough, or, oh, it'll never work. It was like, never work. It's already working. We got this $20 Radio Shack mic and we're rhyming blue with true and we're having the best time of our lives, So I kept doing that, man, and I never looked back. And that's how I got to be able to be at the level where I'm at now, is just through consistent practice and, never falling out of love with it. And I'm still just as in love with it. Every time I freestyle, I feel like I'm 10 years old in Brady's attic with the $20 Radio Shack mic.
That's really interesting. A bunch of things you mentioned there. One about the 106 and Park days, which is, I feel like this, for a lot of people, that was your kind of entry level for freestyle / battle rap. Yeah. And in many ways, it kind of fell out of the popular zeitgeist for a little bit. And I guess freestyle rap kind of went back underground. Right. And in many ways, your video going viral, and there's a number of things I can think of, have kind of pushed freestyle and certainly that style of rap back into the mainstream. It's almost like with stuff online, there's an audience for everything. There's no such thing as something being too niche. Right.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%, man. It's and I'm happy that it has come back to the forefront. And, if I've played a role in that, then I'm super proud to say that I have. I think it's such an amazing art form, and I personally, because like I said, my background is as a jazz musician, right? And so I'm most inspired by improv, the improvisational energy of music, and this concept that you can make something out of nothing, right? I mean, that's what blew our minds, was like, yo, these people are grabbing things out of thin air, with their minds, and just with no pyrotechnics, no fireworks or explosions. They don't even have a band. There's no crazy guitar solo. They're just thinking of things, saying them out loud, and blowing people's minds open. And so, it's magic, freestyling and improvising in general, whether it's John Coltrane playing a saxophone solo, brilliant melodies coming out of, where are they coming from? Right? It's like, where does that come from? And that's the same with a freestyle. Is sometimes I'll watch it back and be like, I don't know what that was. I don't know how I thought of that. Who knows? I felt like it just came through me, and I think that's contagious. And so the internet is a super powerful tool. Like you say, you can show people these things that have been happening forever. And all the real hip hop heads and freestyle enthusiasts always knew. It never went away for us. But for the mainstream, people after 106 and Park and 8 Mile, which was also huge for the battle freestyle thing. After that buzz kind of trickled off, it did go underground. So I'm glad we're back, man. We're back in full effect.
I'd love to hear more about you, your time studying as a jazz drummer. So yeah. I also studied music at a school, but we only sort of like touched on jazz. Jazz was only a small part of our module. Whereas like in my mind, as soon as you said you studied as a jazz drummer, I'm picturing, what's that film that is about a jazz drummer?
Whiplash.
Super intense. And
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Whiplash.
Yeah.
Was your training basically like Whiplash, or was it nowhere near as intense as that?
No, luckily it wasn't nearly as intense as that. Like that kid like crashes his car trying to make it to the rehearsal or something, right? Teachers like throwing chairs at him. No, I mean, I had some intense teachers coming up, not on that level, but part of the jazz tradition includes that sort of, kind of tough love mentality from the teacher to the student, where it's like, you got to get it together. Like, come on, let's go. You're not doing it, and that's always kind of been a part of the sort of jazz tradition. You hear stories, Charles Mingus just screaming at the band members, or, Miles doing all types of crazy, really rude, mean stuff to people. But luckily I had a lot of nurturing teachers and people who didn't come at it that way. And I think, for me, I always responded better to the more nurturing approach. I think that's healthier, but it can't be ignored. Big part of the tradition. There is that tough love element. So I had some teachers that would yell at me and stuff, or go work on this. Don't come back till you got this, and I probably learned from that too. I think it did kind of kick me into high gear and give me that discipline that's needed to make it.
Yeah, well, I definitely wanted to ask you a little bit more about that, the sort of parallels between those two worlds, because I guess as an outsider, somebody who maybe didn't have an understanding about music, jazz and freestyle rap seem almost like it's black magic, like this sort of mystical art form. But do you think your jazz training has helped you make this smooth transition into this?
Oh yeah, 100%, man. Yeah, I mean, they really go hand in hand. They're interconnected. It's like my jazz drumming and my freestyle rapping are like the opposite ends of the double helix in my DNA. You know what I mean? So they're always dancing together. I always say a freestyle rap is like a jazz drum solo with words, right? And such a huge part of freestyling and what makes my freestyling dope to people, I think, right? And, just based on what people have told me, right, is the flow of it, right? So what is flow? Well, when we're talking about flow in the context of rap, it's the way I describe it is it's everything about the rap other than the actual lyrical content. Right? It's everything about the rap other than the words. So what are you left with if you're not focusing on the words and the lyrical content? You have rhythm, right? You have melody, right? So even though we're not singing like ba 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 ba, right? It's not that melody, but it still has a melodic shape. It's not da 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 da, right? It's ba 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 da ba 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 ba, right? So you have that rhythm, melody, inflection. There's these accent patterns. Certain syllables come out at you. Hey, yo, I grip on the mic and I'm doing it raw. I get locked, right? Whatever. So there's this rhythm, melody, accent patterns, and it's the sound of the rap. And all of that is coming directly from my jazz drumming, right? So so people will be like, man, how can you just keep going like that? With your freestyling, where you just keep coming up with ideas. Well, a huge part of it is because I can do this. Right? So it's like I can rhythmically improvise forever. That's what I've learned how to do as a drummer. And so all I'm doing is adding, I grip it when I grab the mic. I said, I'll be the savage type. And you start adding your words to it, and it blends with your language. And the jazz part is huge, man.
So you're the first brother out here that's using jazz to drum with words, basically. Is that what you're saying, Harry?
That's my approach, man. That's my approach.
When was the first time you put all of this together and you realized that you could hit more than a few lines and just get momentum? Do you remember the first time you were like, hey, I'm actually sick at this. Like, I've practiced.
It was so gradual. It was so gradual that it's hard to say, but there were a couple things. There was one time in Brady's attic, I remember randomly, like 8th grade or something. where it was crazy. I was just like rapping about everything in the attic, and it was like something clicked. It was like I was actually connecting it and stringing it together seamlessly. And I just remember like the other homies kind of looked at me like, yo, what was that, dog? Like, that was crazy. That was crazy. So I remember that time. And then I think really though, what it was like, cause we had a group, you know, me and 3 other friends, and, you know, we would make projects and albums and stuff like that. And when we were in high school, we started like, you know, people started like having house parties and stuff like that when their parents were out of town, you know, and it was like our first time experimenting with, you know, drinking and whatever. And so we would go to house parties and stuff like that. And we would start to have ciphers like at the house party, which was different because normally it was just like in Brady's attic. You know, this was like this thing that we did and we were all cool with it. And so it was like a safe space for all of us to experiment and mess up and try to get better, whatever. But then the house party was different because all of a sudden, even though it was casual and it was optional, right, there was still an audience. Like people would come and join around it, and they could walk away whenever they wanted, come and go, whatever. So it wasn't like we were on stage and people bought tickets, but it was one step closer to that, where it's like, oh man, like these people don't know our history and what we're working on, and they're not going to necessarily be forgiving if we mess up in the same way. And so we kind of started like doing these ciphers, and people liked it. And so we would look around, people were like getting hype, and they were like, oh, that's dope, you know? And so that was kind of like the big confidence builder in terms of like, all right, it's time to start taking this out of the attic and really get serious about it, because, you know, maybe we're actually onto something.
Yeah, and I mean, go on, Dev. No, go on, Dev.
I just there's so much, like you keep saying that I keep wanting to ask you about. You've got like such an interesting view on like music in general, but it's something I've thought about for a while. I wondered your thoughts on it. I don't think everyone's going to agree with this, but I think enough people that it's a valid point.
Yeah,
that there seems to be a disconnect between artists who are really good at freestyle, battle rap,
yeah,
and then also like achieving some sort of like mainstream chart success.
Yeah,
I've seen artists who are incredible at freestyling and coming up with things off their head.
Right.
When they get in the studio to say write a song,
right,
there's some sort of disconnect happening there. You've managed to find a way to achieve mainstream success with those freestyles, but I wondered if you had any thoughts on artists who aren't necessarily able to marry the two. There's maybe only 3 artists that I can think of that I've heard freestyle and be amazing and also do consistently good songs.
Yeah, definitely. I think, so I thought a lot about that, you know. I think that basically they're 2 completely different crafts, right? That's what I've come to the conclusion over time, and putting a lot of thought towards this, like, man, why does that happen? You know, and that's something that I'm up against too. You know, I'm on a very unique path in the sense that, you know, I have songs and recordings and stuff like that, but I'm way more known for my freestyling. And so I'm kind of on this unique career path where I'm sort of seeing what I can build with the freestyling, and the freestyles then come into the studio and get recorded, and you know, those are songs, but it's a different kind of approach to the whole thing, right? And I'm lucky because I live in this internet era. You know, I think that's really a big game changer, where it's like previously you had to find a way to navigate the pre-existing music industry, right? So it's like, okay, you're a great freestyler. Can we make a hot single? Can we go to radio? Do we have an album? Can we put you on tour and have everybody singing along? You know, and so you had to find a way to convert and fit into that machine. But if your brain wasn't really, you know, oriented to do like that, because you were mainly a freestyle improviser, you were kind of stuck. And so luckily I have the internet, and I'm able to, you know, to utilize these tools to just really push the freestyle forward. But yeah, to answer your question, I think they're just 2 completely different sides of the brain. And just to touch on that, you know, freestyling is all about non-judgment, right? No such thing as good or bad. Always go forward. Right? No revision, no editing. If you made a mistake or said something whack, it's gone. It disappeared into the cosmos. No one ever has to hear it again. But what are you doing right now? And right now. And again, right now, right? So it's forward moving. And you either are dancing with that moment or you're off. You know what I mean? And so that's it. And so the criteria is basically just, can you keep, it's like you're juggling. Can you keep those balls up in the air, right? And don't drop the ball. You know, we're juggling right now. Can you keep it in motion? And if you can keep it in motion, you're killing it, right? On the other hand, writing classic records is a completely different approach where, of course, there is revision. You do have time to weigh multiple options. Maybe I should start like this. Maybe I should start like this. What am I trying to say? What's the overarching story? You get halfway through it. Should I bring this concept back? Maybe. Let me try it. Let me try. Right. So it's a completely different part of the brain. You are judging and critiquing and honing in on the eventual song. Whereas freestyling is just like, there's no time to weigh multiple options. The first thing I think of, I'm going to say it with confidence and then I'm going to move on. So, yeah, I think it's possible to be good at both, but being good at one would by no means indicate automatically that you're good at the other.
It's so odd, right? You would assume like, it should like work out perfectly, but for some reason it doesn't work out like that.
Yeah,
100%, man. And it was good seeing you at kind of the top of your game with freestyling. Also being able to meet other people that are like you said, on the revised side, more revised side of rap. They're at the top of their game. I got a quick clip for you, which I think is a moment when we can really hear like the elation in your voice because you met someone real special in hip hop one time, Harry.
Yeah, I'm great in your eyes, but you're great in mine because you inspired me. You get what I'm saying? Man. When I see that hunger, it runs me right back to the lab, gets me back on my pen, you know? Mm-hmm. So we inspire each other, man. Just know that. Definitely keep going for sure.
Yo, thank you, man. Hearing that from you is huge to me, man. This is a huge day for me. So
appreciate it.
And I just appreciate you letting me come in here and do that, bro.
No question.
Yeah, so that was Kendrick Lamar, you know, if you couldn't tell by the silky voice. You know, I was really fortunate to form a relationship with Jay Cruz and you know, basically the people who do the Cruz Show, which is a staple radio show, a hip hop radio show here in Los Angeles. And so we had done some things together, and they were fans of me. And so you know, they would always ask me like, oh, who are you listening to? Who's your favorite right now? And I was always like, Kendrick Lamar, man, he's killing it. And so when Kendrick came to the station to like do promo, they hit me up like morning of, and they were just like, yo, Kendrick's coming by the station. I was like, oh, dope, man. I'll definitely listen. Can't wait to hear the interview. You know, I thought they were just telling me to like tune in. And and then they were like, nah, man, like we want you to come in here and do what you did with Joey. I had freestyled with Joey Badass prior to that on the same show. And I was like, they were like, are you down? You know, and I remember I like put the phone down from my face because I was like, my first thought was like, no, definitely not. I was like, I'm not ready to meet him. You know what I mean? I'm not even ready to like shake his hand, and I'm definitely not ready to rap for him. You know, those were my two thoughts automatically, but then it's like, there's only one answer, right? Like, what am I going to say? No, I'll pass. It's obvious what has to happen. The time was live, you know, the moment was live. So I just said, yeah, you know, I'll be there. And they're like, cool, be here in half an hour. So just like drove over there, freestyling super loud in the car, like trying to get pumped up, you know, just blasting beats in my car, rapping about the freeway exit signs and stuff. And then, pulled up and, the crazy thing was I got in the elevator with my friend Edgar Preciado, who worked at the station at the time. He was the one who kind of brought me into the fold with the Cruz Show. And so we were going up the elevator and like, we were kind of like quiet. Like, I think it's a big moment, even for the station, when Kendrick comes through, because he called like morning of and was like, yo, I'm coming to do promo. And they were like, oh, clear the schedule. He can do that, you know? Yeah. And so like, we were kind of just quiet. And I was like, yo, man, like, so you guys ran it by him and he's cool with it? And he was like, nah, bro, I think we're just going to do it. And so I was instantly like so nervous because I was like, all right, on the one hand, it's definitely going to happen. That's dope. Because a lot of times you'll show up for something like this and then like, sorry, like we couldn't make it happen. Like, thanks for coming anyway. So I was stoked that it was like not going to be a waste of time or anything. And like, I wasn't going to get my hopes up for nothing. But then on the other hand, it's like, well, what if he's not feeling it? Or what if it's the wrong energy? Or what if he doesn't want to hear a freestyle from this random dude that he's never heard of that's just like crashing his interview? But
high off of Jay, cause we rolled
it, I told it. One time, Harry Mack, the mic, I'm about to slay it. He answered 2 out of 3, so he ain't have to pay it. And one time, Harry Mack, I'm in the state of zen, rip again and again. It's off top, I need no pen. Yo, I'm in my zone when I'm on it. I hit him like a missile. I wish I had the bracelet with the crystals, but Mac ain't got money. Right now I ain't paid. Every rapper getting slayed. I'ma make his frame decay one time. Hey yo, I cut him like surgery. Someone throw another word in me.
You heard what ended up happening right there in the audio clip, and you know, it's kind of amazing that there's a recording of it, because if not for that recording, I wouldn't have remembered what happened. I basically blacked out for that experience because I was just so overwhelmed. That was such a crazy look at that point. That was in 2017. I told you my first video was December 2016. So like the world had only known about Harry Mack for months, several months. And so, yeah, just to be able to meet him and rap for him and have him say those things to me was like just life-changing. For sure. It was insane, man.
Oh, man, he got you to rhyme llama as well, which I think was a bit of a cheap shot. Kendrick, I think that was a bit mean out there. You did it, though.
I'm getting lifted off the marijuana, hit the cranja and the ganja, yama, yama, red pajama.
Yeah. I said yama, yama, red pajama for some reason. I saw the double L and I went like Spanish pronunciation. It messed me up, dude.
You came out of there. Yeah. What did you do after that, man?
After that, I went home and I felt bad about myself because I thought I blew it. I just like, this thing happens for me, right? And so to all the artists out there that are dealing with something like this, it's normal. Take it from me. But yeah, this thing, it used to happen to me a lot more where I just, whatever it was, whenever I finished performing, especially if it was a big opportunity, my brain went negative on it. And it would just be like, you didn't do it. You didn't do what needed to be done. Like it was whack. Same thing happened when I like went on the Ellen show and did that. I was like, it was weak. I didn't do it. And like, so I would have this thing. And then the people around me would like, be like, what? Nah, dude, I bet you're tripping, man. It's probably going to be fine. And so like, I remember I called my mom and I was like, yeah, like I had this crazy opportunity with Kendrick Lamar, but I don't think I really brought it like that. Like, I don't know. I'm nervous to see it back. So basically like just to keep it 100, it was like, it's that imposter syndrome thing. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. Right?
Yeah, man.
Like, yeah. So it's
every
like,
day, mate.
yeah, right. And a lot of people deal with this, you know, especially people who are, you know, finally taking that courageous step to do their own thing and carve out their own path in the world. You know, you start having some success and you feel like, this can't be right. Like, I don't deserve this success. This can't be me. You know, he said those nice things. He can't be talking about me. Like, maybe he's just BSing me right now because he didn't want it to be awkward, or, you know, you get these sort of negative voices that I guess just, you know, are the result of, you know, your whole childhood growing up and teachers and who knows what, you know, but wherever those voices come from, a lot of us struggle with that, you know? And so, so to be real with you, that's what happened after the Kendrick appearance. Luckily, the video came out like the next day, and I remember my manager at the time just hit me up and he was like, dude, I'm never listening to you again. After a performance, I'm never listening to you. I'm literally just gonna be like, Harry, just stop talking. Nobody cares. You killed it. You did fine. And so, you know, since then, I've gotten a lot better with that whole thing. You know, it's really a matter of building self-confidence and you know, self-love and owning, you know, what you've accomplished and remembering to celebrate, you know, the victories along the way. I think as artists, we're so forward, like, got to get better. What's next? How do we level up? And so, you know, I'm a lot easier on myself now. And, but yeah, man.
Appreciate your honesty there, man. That is
fascinating to hear that. Like, even if someone has experienced like a lot of success, to still after some of your biggest moments be like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I got it. But I suppose that keeps like spurring you on to want to keep doing better as well, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm somebody who, you know, ever since I sort of fell in love with music as a kid, I've been somewhat, I've been obsessed, you know what I mean? And I would even venture to say I'm maybe even a little addicted to practice, right? I love practicing so much. Ever since, you know, my first instrument was the violin, which my parents kind of chose. They were just like, I was 7 and they were like, I would like drum on the high chair table and stuff, and I would vibrate when the music turned on. And they're like, all right, this guy, I think he wants to do some music stuff, he seems like he's got something. No one in my family is musical, but really, I mean, not like, my sister played some instruments and stuff, but none of them really stuck with it. So my parents were like, let's start some music lessons. How's the violin? And I was like, okay, because I was 7. And it was great. And I enjoyed it. And I learned a lot, but my dad had to kind of like tell me to practice. And sometimes he would get frustrated because I didn't want to practice. And I was throwing a tantrum and stuff. He's like, we bought this violin, whatever. And then, but then when I was like 10, around the same time I started rapping, I realized I want to play the drums. And so that's when I kind of like, begged my parents to let us have a drum set in the house. And they were super supportive. My family has always been super, super supportive. I'm really lucky because that's not always the case. But we got to have I finally got to have my drum set. And from that moment, really, the violin was cool and I practiced and stuff. But when I got the drums, no one had to tell me to practice. The tables turned. My parents had to beg me to stop practicing. Like, we got to have dinner now. You got to stop. You have homework to do. You got to stop. And I think from that moment on, I love practicing. And I think, I was never really good at sports. Like I was always like picked last in gym and stuff like that. Classic story of that kid feeling all bad about himself. I was afraid of the ball. I don't have that bird's eye view of like, I just can't visualize team sports, man. I can't be in it. I have a huge respect for it. I love watching basketball games and stuff like that. But I just, it wasn't my thing. And so that was always kind of traumatic for me, having to be on the soccer team, and just being bad at it and like and then you start to resent it, and so I found music and I was like, oh, this is dope because I get to practice and improve, but I don't have that anxiety of, I don't want to let the team down. You know what I mean? I don't have to, there's nobody else counting on me, so to speak. It's just me competing with my previous level from yesterday. That's it. Right. And so I can do this and I can invest time and energy and get incrementally better, but I'm only competing with myself. And so that took all the pressure away. And I fell in love with it. And so yeah, when we talk about, that sort of feeling of, oh, maybe I didn't do good enough, kind of, like you mentioned, pushing me forward to continue to improve. Yeah, 100%. I'm always trying to get better. I always feel like there's so much more for me to learn. And it's funny because back in 2017, when I first started doing videos, people were like, this is the dopest freestyling. It can't get any better than this, And I was like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Like, first of all, there's lots of guys that I think are better than this, that I look up to. But second of all, I'm just getting started, like I wasn't even doing this like to this level of hustle, back in a year ago, and so, man, I practice every day and I'm always improving. And then on the new videos, people are like, how is he getting better? And I'm just like, yo, what do you guys not understand? Like, this is what it is. I'm always going to be reaching for the next thing,
I hear that, man. And
when we're in that kind of headspace of practice, there is something weird that happens regardless of how much you might practice, how much you might perform in front of people. I'm sure it almost never happens to you now, but the idea of the choke, it's got to be a constant threat, considering that you are making up what you're rapping about on the spot. That is sort of always looming there in the background. Yeah. What's your worst choke you've ever had in
I haven't had any like really bad ones in a long time, and I'll talk about why, But yeah, definitely. When I was younger, I had some epic ones. The worst one was we were in Portland. We were still in middle school. Yeah, 7th, 8th grade, maybe. It's crazy that I've been rapping since back then and like actually doing shows and making little albums and stuff with my prepubescent voice all high pitched. But yeah, me and Brady, like we were part of this organization in Portland called Ethos, which was really dope. It was like a music lessons center basically. And, they offered like a lot of scholarships for kids who couldn't afford lessons and stuff like that. And, they're just a super dope nonprofit organization in Portland. And so we found out that they had like turntablism classes and stuff. And so Brady was like getting into DJing, and the same way I begged my parents for the drum set, he begged his parents for like the, used set of turntables and the little mixer or whatever. And so he had his setup, and he started taking lessons at Ethos from this guy named Paul, DJ Apostle. Shout out to him. I have no idea if he's still active or what he's doing, but he was huge for us because this dude, DJ Apostle, saw, our passion and love for it. And he was like, yo, these two little, like, what? These like two little white kids in 7th grade, like loving this hip hop stuff and just going so hard. And he was like, all right, like, come use the studio, anytime, and you guys can like make your records and stuff. So we had this relationship with Ethos, and what ended up happening was they did this big benefit concert at the Aladdin Theater, which is like a 2,000 seat, venue in Portland. And we were opening for this big group called Pink Martini, who's this like great, like, professional, like Latin music, like Afro-Cuban music ensemble. So all the kids from Ethos, the standout kids, the best students or whatever, got to do like a song. We got to like do 5 minutes leading up to this show. And it was like a sold out show, 2 nights sold out in a row at the Aladdin Theater. We're in 7th grade, me and Brady, just like, we're going to have to rock a sold out Aladdin Theater, 2,000 people. So there's a dress rehearsal before the show, right? And, I had just written the song. We wanted to do a new song. So I had just written it like up to the last minute. This was a critical lesson. Yeah. But I forgot to leave time to memorize it. Right. So it's like, I was so obsessed with making it super dope. And then it got to the point where it's just like, all right, well, now you got to do it. And I wasn't going to have my notebook up there. So I just remember the beat dropped and I just stood there with the mic. It was like an 8 Mile. Like I just like, and I knew the words weren't going to come to me, and I was digging through my brain, and then you start panicking, and it's even worse. And I just like muttered a few words, tried something. I couldn't really freestyle yet like that, so I was like, I didn't have that option. Nowadays, I just start freestyling, but I just couldn't. I couldn't do it, and so we were supposed to be the last group before Pink Martini, and we showed up to the actual gig. And they had switched the order. We were going to go very first. They got nervous and they changed the whole order up. So that was a really bad one. But I learned from it, man. And I practiced that verse so many times that week. My parents were like super proud of me too from how I reacted to it because I was just like, I'm not messing this up. Luckily, it was bad rehearsal, good gig. Right? That's how the old saying goes.
That's the way around you want it. Yeah,
that's the way around.
You said you were going to explain why that doesn't happen now. Why do you massively reduce the chances of you choking now?
Yeah, I couldn't. This is going to sound weird, and this is not like some ego thing. I'll explain what I'm talking about. I couldn't really choke now like that. That would be insane. I can't imagine what that would be at this point. And here's why. There's a really great, famous, jazz pianist, Bill Evans, who played on, Kind of Blue with Miles Davis. He's one of the greats. And so he said this thing once where he was talking about this Kind of Blue recording session. And this is like the most famous jazz recording session that's ever occurred. Kind of Blue is like probably the most important jazz album that's ever existed, and he said, like, you never know when that's going to happen, that level, right, of greatness where you're just, everything is working. Everyone is on the same wavelength. And, he said, I think it was that session, he was like, we didn't even really talk to each other, like on the breaks, because we were just like, let's not mess this up. Like, whatever this energy is, it's too sacred. You know what I mean? Like, it was just like, he said, like, they would just take the breaks. Everyone would just kind of like look at each other and then like go off and like, and then like come back and be like, are we still in it? And then, and so, that's the goal, right? That's like the ultimate flow state, inspired, like true improvisation. Everything is working, right? That's the goal. And so what Bill Evans said that really spoke to me a lot was like, you have no idea when that's going to happen. And that usually doesn't happen. But we're all professionals at a high level who have dedicated our lives to learning how to do this. So on our worst days, when we're the furthest from this that we could possibly be, right? When we're the furthest from that kind of blue level, we're still at a very acceptable, very proficient professional level on our worst day.
So kind of like that Michael Jordan when he had the flu game and he still managed to hit X amount of points for the Bulls. Okay. All right.
Exactly. Right. Like Michael Jordan couldn't have he couldn't choke really. He could have a worse game or for him, that wasn't really that good. Right. But there's just too much foundation. Right. There's way too much foundation. And so that's kind of like, for me, like if someone was like, hey, freestyle, I could be in a horrible mental state. Maybe I just got in a fight with my girlfriend or something, or there's something going on with a family member. I didn't get enough sleep last night. I'm sick. Right. If all that stuff aligned at once, it would definitely not hit that that kind of blue level. Right. But I still wouldn't just hold the mic and not have anything to say, right? On my worst day, I can say, yo, I'm having my worst day. Still, I'm about to find a little something to say. I'm right here. Yeah, I'm keeping it clear. I mean, I can ramble and rhyme, right? I can ramble and rhyme and it will be acceptable and it will work. Will it be like, oh, yo, that was crazy. Harry Mack is sick with freestyles? Not necessarily, but you'll be like, all right, that was nice. And so that's the 18 years of practice. That's what you get, right? And so I tell a lot of my students or people that I've worked with on freestyling and stuff that to do it at a really high level, whatever you consider that to be, requires an immense amount of patience because at every stage of learning, from the most elementary phase of basic single syllable rhyming connections, recognizing that hand rhymes with sand, for example, right? You have to practice that level to the point of mastery, right? To the point of effortless mastery, which is, a book by the jazz pianist Kenny Werner, where he talks about it needs to feel as easy as breathing, right? It needs to feel as easy as walking. Right? Walking is something that you can always do in the background. You could be on the phone having this intense conversation, arguing with somebody or talking about this big decision about whatever is coming up at work, right? On the phone, and your brain is totally there. Meanwhile, your feet are still doing this, right? Without any of your brain, it doesn't feel like any of your conscious brain is controlling that right foot, now left foot, now, right? And then there's a break in the sidewalk and it does this and you navigate it perfectly. And then you hear this car coming out of nowhere. You check, make sure it's not going to hit you. You navigate that, hop over a puddle, walking all in the background, right? And so at every stage of freestyling, it's not about practicing it till you can kind of do it or till you can do it well a few times in a row. My whole thing is I try to practice every stage until it's walking. I can do it in the background. So with basic rhyming and the sort of basic techniques that I use, I could be having a terrible day and thinking about something else entirely. And in the background, I'd still be going, hey, I'm still right here spitting clear. Mac, about to hit you in the ear like a spear. I'm on, coming too strong with the songs. Light up the fuse, then I'm dropping the bomb. I'm all in it. My freestyle's infinite. I've never been to. And it's just, I don't even know what that is. I'm rambling in rhyme. I'm rambling in rhyme. 18 years.
So I suppose that means when the world got hit with this whole COVID thing earlier this year, your transition was kind of, I felt like it was quite fluid because I remember seeing you Venice Beach, just coming up to people, randoms, and rapping to them, or somewhere else in the world. And then when COVID came along, we had to stay inside, so you needed a new way to replicate bumping into people, right? So the way you did that's interesting. Can you talk us through that? Because that's bringing like a whole new flavor of freestyle to the internet.
Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah. It was crazy. It's kind of funny. So I used to, when I was doing those public freestyles, right, where I was approaching strangers in public places, we call that guerilla bars. That's the name of the series online. So I used to, I wasn't really like being the most efficient content creator. Anytime I wanted to do a Guerilla Bars episode, I would think of it. All right, let's do an episode. And then I would be like, all right, let's pick a place, Venice Beach. All right, let me see if my friend can film it. Okay, cool. Let's go out there, film it, go back. I'll edit it, get it ready, post it. And then we have nothing, and it's like, all right, let's go make another one. And so I was always starting from the very beginning all the way to the end. And I realized it was slowing me down a lot. And I was kind of trying to do them pretty regularly. And so I was like, all right, you know, let's finally do this content creation thing, like for real, you know? And so I was like, let me do at the beginning of 2020, a whole bunch of Guerilla Bars shoots, you know, let me go out and just film all through January, February, just back-to-back weekends, just going out and getting a ton of footage, and then I'll chop it up and kind of like dispense it out slowly, you know, in the coming weeks. So that's what we did. So in January and the first half of February, I filmed a ton of public freestyle content, coincidentally. And then like a week after the last shoot that I had scheduled, it was like quarantine, right? Can't go outside anymore. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy, right? Total coincidence. I can't act like I planned it, but I was sitting on this thing and I was like, whoa, like, should I even put this out? Like, is it rude to put this out? Like, hey, look what I have, you know, because every
outside for weeks enjoying people.
Yeah, exactly. Every content creator was like pivoting. It was like, damn, or like production was like screeched to a halt. And I was just like, oh, snap. So that worked out well, right? And I was able to actually continue releasing Guerilla Bars footage. And I realized that, like, you know, I timestamped, filmed, I would put the filming dates like in the upper corner because I didn't want people to get the wrong idea that I was just out there like, oh, I don't care or whatever, you know, because, you know, there's a certain responsibility that comes with creating content as well, in my opinion. And so I didn't want to mislead people or make them think that it's all good when maybe it's not. So I didn't have to pivot right away. But as you say, eventually I did, you know, that footage started to dry up and, you know, the vault started to wear thin. And so I realized, like, man, I got to figure out what the next move is. And I had already been doing a lot of live streaming and stuff. Even prior to COVID, I'd been streaming for a year or two, you know, just it fits in so well with what I do in terms of people just typing random words in the chat and me grabbing those and freestyling about the random words and stuff. But the thing that's magical about the Guerilla Bars is they're strangers and they don't know me and they don't necessarily assume that it's going to be good, right? 99% of the time somebody approaches you on the street and says, yo, can I rap for you? You're probably like, oh, okay. Like,
yeah. Have I got any money in my pockets? That's what I'm thinking. Where's the tip?
To sell you a CD.
Yeah.
Buy my back catalog.
Yeah, exactly. Let me sign it for you. No, I don't want it. Oh, I just signed it for you. You know, that whole scam. So that was the whole magic of it is converting, you know, skeptics to believers, you know, live on camera. That was the whole thing. And so there's this site called Omegle, right? And so basically it's this weird website where you get randomly paired with other people on video chat. What could go wrong, right? But yeah. So
for any of our listeners, by the way, who've never been onto that website, 7 out of 10 times, in my experience, it's been a guy sat there with his cock out.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you can't find like people to chat to and it's not an interesting site, but at least 7 out of 10 times, it's been a guy sat there with his cock out.
And the next two are somebody who's about to. So they're just waiting there to see if you're the right person or not.
Right, and exactly.
The disappointment in their face when they see it's me as well, and not like some 20-year-old hottie.
Yeah, right. Because the 20-year-old hotties flock to the website where the dicks are out, right? Yeah, so like, Omegle is sketch. It's super sketch. But here's the thing, though. They have made a massive improvement, which is now you can type in tags for different like themes or interests. And so I'll type in music. I shouldn't even spill the beans on it because I'm trying not to have people find me on there, but you know, just general topics that are not dicks, you know. So
you should type in not dicks. Just type in not dicks as a tag.
Yeah, I should try that actually. That's hilarious. But yeah, you know, movies, TV, fashion, whatever, just anything, you know. And I don't only do music because I want non-musicians. I just want normal people on there. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, man, like that eliminates 99% of the dicks. Like I still see some. I'm not gonna lie.
You're never gonna get rid of all the dicks, though.
You're never going to get rid of all the dicks.
You're never going to get rid of it.
There's always going to be a dick somewhere waiting for you. But yeah, so but amazingly, it cleans it up drastically. There's still a lot of weirdos, but a lot less nudity. So, but it's actually, man, it's been incredible. Like I had no idea what to expect. I resisted it for a long time because same reason. I didn't know about the tagging, and I was like, I don't know if I want to subject myself to all of that, but it's the content that we've gotten from it is awesome. I mean, I never thought, I took for granted the fact that it would be so international. So now I'm freestyling not just for strangers at Venice Beach. Granted, there are a lot of tourists at Venice Beach and stuff like that, but I'm literally rapping for somebody in India. I'm rapping for this group of friends in Morocco. I'm rapping for people in the UK. I'm rapping for people in South America, Mexico, all over the world. And so that was really, really special. And the other thing that I didn't realize was going to happen is that some of the content is actually kind of emotional because it's so difficult right now to have interactions with strangers. There are so few opportunities to have interactions with strangers. You might still have your social distanced get-togethers with friends and stuff like that. But what's the modern equivalent of being at a crowded bar on a random night and meeting somebody, or connecting with another group of friends? What's the modern equivalent right now of just being in a crowded park where everybody's picnicking and you strike up a conversation with the person next to you on the bench? We don't really get to do that right now very often. And so this was a way that that was happening. And even for me, I was like mad inspired. Like after doing it for the first day, I was like, whoa, that's this whole different energy that has kind of been sort of squeezed out by COVID. And so watching some of the clips, it's actually weirdly, even though there's nothing sad about it or anything, just watching it kind of almost made me emotional. And other people have had that same reaction and been like, man, that video really moved me. And it's funny because it's just a dude doing freestyle bars about giraffes and whatever word they throw out, it's not whatever, but it's important right now, I think. And there's a lot of smiles that are shown on camera. There's a lot of upliftment and just, that's the magic of improv. And that's the magic of freestyling is it reminds everybody what it felt like to be a kid. And so we're just kind of trying to show that.
I hear that, man. What's one of the funniest things that's happened on your Omegle streams? Because I love the interactions beforehand and afterwards with the people that you bump into.
Yeah. I mean, there's been a lot of crazy stuff. In the first episode, there's this dude wearing this crazy clown mask and playing guitar, and he just it's what are you doing? Oh, the craziest thing is there's this. I ran into this thing called Puppet World. This guy just had all these puppets, a crowd of puppets. He was off screen and he has this voice adjuster. And so there was this puppet. The main one was named Corky. It's the creepiest thing. And he was just hi, welcome to Puppet World. And I was like, yo, what is this? And so I freestyled for the puppets threw me 3 words and I freestyled about them. It's crazy. Yeah.
He's either a really nice guy and a potential children's TV host, or he's a serial killer.
Exactly.
It's one way or the other, right?
There's no middle ground. There's no middle ground there. It's either really great or really terrifying.
Yeah, that's crazy. So what's the lockdown situation out there over in LA? Because we're on lockdown too over here in the UK, Harry.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's, this whole social distancing thing. Certain things are open, but to very limited capacity. We have outdoor dining. Barbershops are 25% capacity or something like that. So yeah, I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. And, we've been getting tested and stuff like that too. But yeah, it's a whole different world, man. I don't know what's going to happen. I think in the beginning, there was a lot of all right, well, man, I wonder when it goes back to normal. Now I don't even know. What is normal? Is there going to be a new normal? And I'm not. First of all, I feel very fortunate because of the type of creator that I am. It works really well virtually, and it works again and again and again, right? If I was a singer-songwriter with even if I had a 20-song set list, you can't go live 4 times a week. You know, you could go live once a month and hype it up, you know, and let me play a couple new ones, you know, right? But I'm in a really lucky position because the whole point of my type of creativity is that it's just this fountain that as long as you can throw me words, I can throw you back raps, you know? So it's sort of infinite, just like a jazz improviser can solo forever in theory. So that has helped me a lot. And so luckily, and I really feel for a lot of my friends in music who were just gigging as their main way of making money. And now there's no gigs, you know, and they don't necessarily create the type of music that can be streamed every other night, you know. So, you know, all that said, in the beginning it was like, when do we go back to normal? Now I'm not really looking at it that way. I'm just like, okay, day by day, figure out how to have my career, you know, and have this continue to work and where I can continue to be creative and, you know, hopefully monetize my creativity as much as possible so I can survive. And that's it. But I don't know if we're going to have another Coachella, you know, or big music festival, or when does that happen? And what does that even look like, you know?
Yeah. Isn't that mad thinking about explaining that to the younger generation? Oh, go on, Dev. Yeah.
They won't even know. They won't even know what it is, man. It's crazy. Just to expand on that a little bit, Harry, and you can stop me if I'm talking shit or not. But you come across to me as the type of person who, rather than what can I change about myself in order to fit in, you've sort of looked at it like, right, where in this like mad industry and online world, where can I choose to showcase my talents and fit in?
Yeah.
With everything that's happened this year, has it made you rethink some of your aspirations, some of your plans for the future? Because we're maybe for the first time, certainly in our generation, it's something that we're all experiencing at the same time.
Yeah.
And conversations that I'm having with people around me, we're all having to make brand new decisions and kind of like slightly adjust the course of where we plan to get to. So I was just wondering where you're at with that.
Yeah. So in this weird way, as tragic as COVID has obviously been, you know, and you know, if I could end it right now by pressing a button, I'd do it 1000%. We all would, right? In some ways, creatively speaking, and in terms of like my career path, it's actually sort of helped me in a sense because I'm the type of artist that doesn't fit in with the old structure, right? Like, I don't fit in with the pre-existing record label, hot single, go to radio, blow up, do a tour, ride the wave for 8 years, and then bye, retire, right? Whatever. I don't know how to do that. And so that's the reason why even in 2017 with the videos and stuff, as popular as they were becoming, it wasn't like Def Jam called me or like Columbia Records called me and was like, let's do this, you know? Because they're like, yeah, he's super talented. We'll see if, you know, can he make songs? Can he do what we do to make money as companies, right? Can this person be used in our system so that we can make money, basically, right? I mean, that's labels want artists that can make them money, understandably. I don't fit in with that. So my whole thing is like, I'm in this whole other lane. And now with COVID, right? And it sucks that it has to be something like COVID that was the catalyst for this. But here we are, right? With COVID, all of the old structures are being questioned because we don't know what tomorrow is going to look like. We don't know if we'll ever go back to any of these old structures, music festivals, tours. Is that coming back? When is that coming back? How does it work? Right? Everything is up in the air. And so for somebody like me, it levels the playing field where it's just like, all right, nobody knows what the future of being a professional musician and an entertainer looks like. I don't know. Right? But let me try some stuff. I'm just doing what works for me. And that's what I've found is for me to be happy as a human being, I have to lean into what works for me. Any of the times where I've tried to force the other thing and let me figure out how to get signed on a label and have a hot song, I still think that could happen theoretically, right? I think I do have hot songs and I think I'll have more, right? But I don't want to try to force that just because that's some pre-existing structure that everyone is told you have to fit in with. Now, everything's up in the air. Look at us now. What we think of as stable today could be completely gone tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So we got to learn how to dance. And I personally like that because you know, who knows how a freestyler has a sustainable long-term career? Has anybody really done that yet? You know, very few people have done that. Of course, there are those who have, you know, Supernatural and Juice and King Los and people like that. But yeah, so did that make sense?
100%. No, it makes sense. I think the key to being successful now definitely is being nimble, because that's the only way that people can really manage what changes. Right. You know, like I said, we've got a different world situation here in the UK to you have over in the West Coast. Right. But we can't even. I'll be honest. Like in terms of business and life, we can't really plan past the next month here in the UK. Maybe before we were thinking about 2021, but not really at the moment. So I guess it's just being able to tweak what we can, and so that we can still be creative. And I think, you know, we're blessed to be in creative jobs, and we still need people. A big conversation over here in the UK has been needing people to entertain us and needing those that are in the arts to be supported as well, because one thing that's getting us through lockdown is having people to entertain us and create content for us, like yourself, like we try and do for our audience as well. So that's super important. That makes total sense, Harry.
Definitely.
Right, so I think we'd all be fools if you didn't think we were going to ask you not to freestyle for us today, Harry, after you gave us that smack talk about you are on your zenith right now, right? You could rap on your worst day.
Yeah.
How do you want to play this then?
Man.
How do you want to play it? How do we do this?
All right, so I got beats, so you guys just got to give me some inspo, man. Can I get some words from you guys?
Okay, cool. Like, does it have to just be singular words, or do we have to be like, how strict is it?
There's no rules, man. There's no rules. We're making it up right now.
Okay, cool. All right. Podcast, obviously, because that's what you're on right now, man.
Yep. Podcast.
Podcast. Kumquat.
Yep.
Oh, you came. All right.
Brexit.
On
the headline about Brexit. Yeah.
All right. Podcast. Kumquat. Brexit. Let me get one more.
How about How to Kill an Hour? You got to put How to Kill an Hour in there as well, right?
Yeah.
How to Kill an Hour. All right, dope.
Podcast,
Kumquat, Brexit, and How to Kill an Hour.
All right.
That's like a How to Kill an Hour podcast.
All right, let's do it.
I'm going to mute myself then.
All right. Oh, hold up. I got to switch this to the...
Harry, just in case, are you able to record this on your side as well? We'll edit this bit out. Is that awkward now? If you can't, it's cool.
I think I can. Hold on. Let me I just got to get iTunes coming out the right speakers. Oh, here we go. Yup. All right, let's see about now. Hold on. Let me sorry guys, we're going to get this.
That's cool, man. This is what it's good about.
Technical difficulties. Yeah, right. Let's see.
Kumquat Dev, you fucking asshole.
I love that. There we go. All right. We ready?
All right, cool.
Here we go. Yeah. 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah. 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah. 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah. Yo, turn the mic up a level and let the guard blast. I'm reporting live all up on your podcast. Entering all types of zones. Y'all can hear my voice clear through the microphone. Man, I wish we was together all up in the same room. But COVID came through, so we had to use Zoom. Yeah, we solving problems and we using them remedies. Even though it's on the screen, I'm still feeling your energy. Yeah, you stepping in correct to Mac, you a dead man. I can share more energy through my webcam than most of these rappers can share in real life. Anytime I'm spitting lyrics, I cut through like steel knife. Yeah, hey yo, they said, dog, you gotta let the verse lay. You just told us you could still spit on your worst day. Lyrics, I'm reporting them to you. I still score mad points like I'm Jordan with the flu. Yeah, and y'all know I'm a rhyme for you. Hey yo, we gon' reach that level though of kinda blue. Yeah, I'm about to let you all know what I meant. I said right now we gon' hit 110%. Let's take it there. Yeah, let's take it there. Yeah, they step to Mac. I don't make it fair. Yeah, I make it real. Hey, I'm about to spill. Hey, I said don't spread it like the COVID cause my lyrics is ill. I break it down for my folks while I shine like a sunspot. Matter of fact, my lyrics, they be juicy like kumquat. Anytime I'm spitting, people know when I'm so loose. Yeah, I be fresher than your favorite produce. When it comes to spitting, I be causing more
panic. Good for your health like kumquats when they organic. And y'all know that I'm flowing with ease. Kinda like a kumquat, it's growing from trees. What's growing from trees? Well, I'm talking my skill and I'm talking my paper, cause I'm paying my bills. Yeah, talking my mentality, it grows from the roots. I said I got the type of lyrics that they couldn't compute. Y'all know I shine like a necklace. Your vibe, I affect this. My flow infectious. I'm controversial like Brexit. Yeah, and y'all know that I'm really spitting flames. Word to Brexit, these rappers getting out the game. Yeah, they removing themselves from all ties. When it comes to lyrics, y'all know that I'm all wise. Thinking about Brexit, it got me stressed. Cause when I read articles, it sounds like a mess. Yeah, but yo, I be living in the US. So if you wanna talk a mess, mine will leave you depressed. Come on, I keep it honest every time that I spit. Anytime I'm kicking lyrics, they be throwing the fit. I got the power, rappers turn sour, they get devoured. I'm about to show you all how to kill an hour. It makes sense, cause my freestyle skills are infinite. So I could keep rhyming like this for 60 minutes. Now gotta do a whole separate episode. It's just me, Harry Mack, letting go. They're like, we ain't even have a chance to ask no questions. He went for an hour from the microphone testing. I rhyme off suggestions, I use your words. Anytime I spit my lyrics, it's so fast that it's blurred. Yeah, hey yo, y'all know they a friend of my rap. How to kill an hour, y'all, we gon' end it like that. H Mack.
Then you covered the whole show. You covered the whole show. Killed it.
Nah. The fact that you have to listen to this podcast to understand what you just sewed into that's right, Harry, man. That's unfair.
Managed to get in the children with the flu line. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Appreciate y'all, man.
I forgot we even spoke about that, bro. How are you just putting that and making that rhyme? Crazy.
He's throwing in like footnotes from the podcast, not even main comments.
I wanted to give the little spark notes, for those who don't have time to listen to the whole thing. So there you go, but I hope they do. They better listen to the whole thing.
Yo,
hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Has Harry like the whole time been making mental notes of everything we've been talking about just to put in the freestyle?
Nah, it's funny. A lot of people say that, but I don't do that. With improv, you quickly learn anything that you plan ahead is going to mess you up. So, and I learned that early on, just being in the cypher. When the other dude was rapping, you're thinking like, what's my first line going to be? You're looking around the room. Oh, I'm going to reference that. Oh, that'll be dope. Okay, I'm going to reference that. And then as soon as he passes you the mic, you try to say what you thought would be your first line and you mess up. And then you instantly like, well, that's out. And then you start freestyling and improvising for real, and it's great, right? So it's like we said, there are two different mindsets. There's writing and there's improvising, and they don't really go together in the same bag. So when you're planning out stuff in advance, like if we were talking and I was thinking of lyrics, I'd be writing, right? Trying to get it right ahead of time. And then I got to perform it correctly. And, when I'm improvising, there's no such thing as a mistake. I'm making it up right now. So yeah.
No doubt. That was dope, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it, man.
Super dope.
Where do you want us to be looking for you online? Where do you want to send us, man?
I think the biggest platform for me right now is YouTube, youtube.com/Harry Mack. But I'm everywhere, man, at Harry Mack. I'm on IG. I'm on Spotify, HarryMack.
Man, I just, I hope things clear up and you can come over here, because I feel like a Harry Mack tour. I'd pay to see you freestyle, man. I'll be down for that.
Let's go.
I'll be down for that, man. Like maybe this is the future. Maybe it's not about concerts where we know the words. Maybe it's about concerts where we don't know the words. We're just throwing kumquats at you. You're catching them and spitting hot bars, man. So
I like to think it's within the realm of possibilities, man. I hope to make it out there soon.
100%. Well, stay blessed, man. And I just want to say thank you for joining us to kill some time with us, and thank you to listeners as well for killing some time with us. I'll be Marcus Bronzy.
I've been Dev. See you in a bit, guys.
Harry Mack. Thank y'all for having me.
Stay blessed. Harry,
yes.
That's unreasonable, man. That's unreasonable, bro. Hey, real talk.
So good.
Nah, that's sick. Nah, because honestly, I can't comprehend how your brain works. I mean, I don't know. I should have put this in the podcast at some point, but I would love a scientist to scan your brain. There are people in New York that will do that. Scan your brain while you're freestyling to see what is going on in your head, because there's something happening that doesn't usually happen.
Like, you know what's crazy about you saying that, right? Is this is going to be a really shit, like, because we're on the screen, but usually You hear like, you know, like, oh, give me some words and I'll freestyle it. To me, it kind of goes, here's point A, point B, point C. But you were kind of like doing this sort of like, oh, this is like a whole verse about this one bit.
Yeah.
And it's not now the next bit is not a separate verse. It's all like woven in together, like fucking crazy. And then I could almost hear you going, yeah, I nailed that bit. No, I want to do it. I want to do another one. I want to do the next way, like, as well. Like,
it was like, this is what you get for saying kumquat, Dev. You're going to get a whole verse about
exactly.
That was deep.
Exactly. It's so, I'm just having so much fun, man. I'm having so much fun. I don't ever want to stop, man. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you for this opportunity.
Please don't stop, man. We're taking enough of your time today, but stay blessed, man. And we'll keep in contact with you, and we'll reach out to you at some point, man. We'll let you know if we're over that side of the water as well, Harry.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Hit me up anytime. And let me get a link when the show goes live. I'd love to listen, obviously, and throw it up on the story or whatever.
100%, man. Appreciate that. Stay blessed.
All right. For sure.
Cheers, bro.
Peace, guys.
So, yeah, there you have it. That was Harry Mack here on How to Kill an Hour. Bruv, didn't we tell him, Dev, if you listen to the whole podcast, the payout after the freestyle would be amazing.
Yeah, right? No doubt. You know, a lot of those podcasts about crime, the crime podcast, they promise you stuff all the way through it, and you're like, all right, I'm going to listen to 70 episodes, but there better be a payoff, and it's sort of a bit anticlimactic. I feel like you really got your money's worth with that one.
We delivered, man. We delivered. I still kumquat. How did he manage to not just? It's like you threw that down at him, yeah, and he's like, all right, you're going to give me that word. I'm not just going to hit that word. I'm going to give you a verse on kumquat. Yeah,
I'll level with you. I didn't even know kumquats came from trees. I thought it was a root fruit. I really did. I didn't know where it came from. He schooled me on kumquats.
He's just working on a different level out here, man. I really want to see, like, if he says he's still improving, I wonder where he's going to be in like 2 years' time. Because I don't think there's anyone else out there that's training as hard in this area of freestyle. It's going to be mad. And do you know what I realized as well, Dev? He doesn't curse much, you know. Kept it quite clean.
Yeah, it sort of broadens the appeal a little bit. And I guess it's also really interesting for me to listen to somebody that you would consider pretty on top of their game, and they still want to get better, and they're still interested in improving. I think we all learn a little something in today's episode. I think we'll all take a little something away.
Yes, we did. And I think on that note, it's time for us to leave you.
Jesus, did you just hear my stomach gurgling during that? Did that pick up on the microphone?
I thought it was another drum kit. You know what I mean?
I love the percussion. It's a floor tom.
You swallowed a maraca. Dev, have you eaten a maraca? Anyway, hey. So yeah, that was How to Kill an Hour. You can find us on social medias at How to Kill an Hour. I'm at Marcus Bronzy, BRONZY. Where can we find you on L social medias?
On Instagram, it's Dev, DEV, just Dev. My username's not for sale. You can't buy it. Sorry, I'm not going to sell it to you no matter how many aggressive DMs you send me. And I am Dev_101 on Twitter.
Boom. Plenty of ways to kill some time out there. Thank you for killing some time with us. Also, before you go, we've also put a video of the freestyle up as well. You can see Dev and mine, our brains explode basically on camera. It's crazy. All right, see you next time, guys.